Welcome back to Together We Can's monthly action items. My name is Rob Crain. I'm a personal injury attorney in Dallas, and along with my good friend, Pastor Richie Butler, we are co-founders of Together We Can and Together We Dine. This month, we take a hard look at the history of violence, exclusion, and inequities of our Asian American countrymen. And we do so in light of recent increase in violence against Asian Americans. The FBI has recently reported that over the past year, while overall hate crimes have reduced, hate crimes against Asian Americans have increased 150% during the time of COVID. And we've seen many examples of serious violent events captured on video, as well as the awful shootings recently in Atlanta. And this goes back to the 1850s and 1830s, initial immigration of any significance to Hawaii and then to California. And Asian Americans are, from the time they first set foot on our soil here in America, they created much of the railroad system that led people to migrate to the West, and have been a major shaping influence of the United States identity, and are just as much a fabric of this country as any other group, as we are all Americans. And up until today, CRISPR technology being advanced by several prominent Asian Americans has led to the quick development of vaccines to help fight COVID and everything in between. We can thank our Asian American brothers and sisters for being a significant part of our development in this country. And we're going to take a look at the history, just from kind of beginning to where we are now with the first couple of action items. And then we'll hear from Lee Wong, who many of you probably saw this viral video that came out a few weeks ago, but I found it very powerful. Mr. Wong migrated to the United States just after high school, lost his parents at a young age, was a U.S. Army veteran retired after 20 years, and he suffered scars due to infection while training in the U.S. Army, and you will see his speech from his chairman's seat about his response to those who don't think he is patriotic enough just because of the way he looks. We'll also take a hard look at the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. For 60 years, our country excluded Chinese, people of Chinese descent from entering this country. And people of Chinese descent, Chinese nationals who were in the country at the time, for 60 years were unable to become U.S. citizens. The only time in our history where legislation specifically excluded a race of people for their race. We'll also look at the lessons to be learned from the Japanese, call them internment camps now, concentration camps is what FDR called them. I would submit that these were jails. These were barracks with barbed wire, chain link fences surrounding them, with guards with guns, and not allowing the people on the inside to leave. 120,000 people were sent to these conditions, 2/3 of whom were American citizens. Think about that. 2/3 of this group were American citizens that we effectively locked in jails because of their Japanese ancestry. And not one single historical evidence has shown that any of these people ever had any inkling of violence against the U.S. or any traitorous tendencies against the U.S. Whatsoever. And you'll learn a little bit about the Fred Koromatsu case. Mr. Koromatsu challenged the law all the way to the Supreme Court, and he lost, but then found some vindication decades later also in the federal courts. We'll learn about the model minority myth, something new to me and something we all need to know about. It is a myth, and it has some dangerous propensities to it that we all need to appreciate so that we can better understand the plight of Asian Americans in our current times. Our extras include a snippet of the Chinese Massacre of 1871, an historical lesson that I was unaware of, and it was frightening, and something we need to make sure that we are aware of and do not allow to be repeated again. This occurred back in Los Angeles before Los Angeles really had developed, and there were not a lot of people in the town at the time. But the massacre against Chinese people just because they were Chinese had devastating consequences. I do commend you to our In Their Shoes segment this month, which is offered by Andrew Spaniel. Andrew is founder of the Howard and Spaniel law firm in North Texas. He is also a past president of the Dallas Asian American Bar Association, and he and his wonderful family often experience microaggressions when they go out in public. And I will suggest to you that after studying and listening to my Asian American friends, Asian Americans have a unique commonality as far as a microaggression, and that is they are frequently asked, "Where are you from?" Insinuating that they must be from somewhere other than America because of their Asian appearance. Oftentimes, when they say, "Well, I'm from Dallas, Texas," the person will follow up, "Well, where were you from before that?" As if they had to be from somewhere other than America. And this is something across the board that people of Asian American descent experience in their lifetime, and something unique in that a race experiences a single microaggression so commonly throughout. So I commend you to that. We hope that these monthly action items give you some education. It gives you some confidence of speaking with your Asian American friends and really being able to ask questions that are more based on history, and give you some confidence to have those discussions. I know that I've had two now going through this information, and feeling a little bit better about filling in some blind spots so that I can better appreciate where Asian Americans come from and what they are going through in their walk in our special country. We hope you enjoy this month's monthly action items.